You connect to someone and the other day or the next message is about the deal. It's not going to work.
So if I want to start with marketing plan now, what should be my steps now?
Something happened in the industry, so add your perspective also, that this is my take. Do you think that Elon Musk built that brand in 3 months or 6 months or 1 year? So LinkedIn has its own brand authority, its own domain authority.
So Vikram, talking about different kind of platforms, what do you have to say on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is actually a key platform when it comes to business because LinkedIn is all about B2B networking. So when it comes to real estate syndication marketing, I think LinkedIn should be your central platform, and you should be incorporating this platform into your marketing plan because when people are on LinkedIn, they have a different mindset, unlike Facebook or Instagram. So, Facebook and Instagram is a little lifestyle oriented, and there is a mix of family and friends and your potential clients. So, it's not that targeted. But when you talk about LinkedIn, it's pretty targeted because it's all about professional networking. And when people are spending time on LinkedIn, that means they have a mindset of investing, business, and B2B, So I would say that never ignore LinkedIn and always incorporate, always include this into your marketing plan.
So for suppose if I am not an expert as a syndicator into the LinkedIn kind of platform, my presence is not built on LinkedIn. How do you suggest that I should start on LinkedIn to be present, to bring that credibility, to create the rapport with my circle on specifically on LinkedIn?
Yes, great question. So, each and every platform starts with your target persona. What kind of people you want to connect with? So we spoke about, creating your investor persona. And once you are sure about that, just go back to LinkedIn and search those people. And it's good that LinkedIn provides these different kind of filters where you can put the industry, you can even put titles, what kind of people. Let's say you want to connect with vice presidents of technology software companies, you can put in even the names of the company. So let's say you want to touch base with software engineers of Google, for example. So you can put it in the title, software engineer, or whatever titles you want to use, put it into the filter and also put the company's name. And then there are different more criteria out there, or more filters out there, and you can select that this is what you want, even the location. So if you are based out of, let's say, Florida or California, so you can put in your location also, so that it gives you results, that these are the people who are meeting these filters of
That's
the.
a great point. I wasn't aware that I can target people according to my own country or my place where I live in, actually.
Yes.
Because my syndicator business is, related with one kind of, project in a particular area. So I want people from that place to, connect with me. So that's a great point. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, yeah. Actually, real estate is a local business, So let's say you are based out of Florida and or Tennessee, or let's say even if I go more granular, you are based out of Knoxville, and you are the syndicator. I am the investor, or I am the potential investor. Now, what happens that if you have a deal in Knoxville, for example, and I am also living in Knoxville, and I know that this deal, I see this apartment complex like every week or so, and I know this complex or this place for the last 20 years. I'm more confident that yes, it's a tangible asset. It's not going to, it's not like a paper stock or something, it's not going to go anywhere. So I will be much more comfortable in investing. And that's why if you are going local, so, if you are based out of Knoxville, for example, so, and if you have a deal in Knoxville only, so try out to connect with people around that location, because they are going to be the ones who will respond to your deal very positively. So that's the power of LinkedIn, localization, and all these filters.
So, for instance, if I have started, exploring the circle in Knoxville, around Knoxville, and I'm connecting with those people, now how to move forward with them? How should I be present? How should I conversate? And how should I, initiate with them and tell them about my deal and what kind of things I'm doing and how to create rapport with them, since they are also new to me. And when I'm connecting them with on LinkedIn, they know me through my just personal page. but how to get that kind of, deeper understanding and deeper engagement and networking with them?
That's a great question. See, what happens that when you connect with or you want to connect with certain kind of people on LinkedIn, first of all, first, just put in your filters and then send them connection request and personalize it. Don't send like, just keep sending the connection request or hitting that button all the time. Make it personalized. At least your, the first name should be there, and tell them that you are based out of this location. Don't talk about any deals at all. So never ever pitch a deal on LinkedIn, especially like, let's say, what happens that, you connect to someone and the other day or the next message is about the deal. It's not going to work. I'm telling you that this is a recipe of failure. Never ever pitch a deal. Nobody is going to invest. Don't waste your time or energy on that. Connect. Okay. See that where these people hang out. So let's say there are local chapters, or if you are interested in, let's say, software professionals, or you want them as your investors, so they might be going to what kind of events? Tell me. Local chapters, there might be meetups for software professionals about technology, AI adoption, blah blah blah, about software development and all. So these people are going to attend these events. So just not go to real estate events, because when you are going to real estate events, and this is the mistake most people do, that they go to the real estate events and they keep on meeting with other syndicators which might be already their competitors or so I suggest that go for these events which are for other industry professionals, because actually your clients or your potential investors are hanging out there. So go to these events, try to learn about, and you will actually learn about AI technology and stuff like that. Even if you're going for a healthcare event, you will end up learning something and end up meeting professionals out there. You will understand their market also, and they will appreciate that you also understand their market. So how you are going to converse? See, when you are going to network with other people, it's not about you. Actually, always make it a point that it's about you, it's about the other person. you know if you don't understand software industry, how and why you are expecting software professionals to invest with you? If you don't understand medical industry or entrepreneurship, how you are expecting the other entrepreneur or a medical professional or a surgeon or a doctor or physician to invest with you, because you don't understand their industry. So of course you are not going to create that rapport, that building is not going to be there. So you should also take some time out and understand other industries also, especially your potential investors industries.
That's a great point. So if I want to start with marketing plan now, what should be my steps now?
Yeah, so starting is always sometimes difficult. It takes a lot of time, but I would say that don't run after perfection. Start creating content, and then you can refine it. So first of all, you have to express your investment philosophy, what you are all about, and relate it somehow to your client's profile, right? So we spoke about that, creating value for residents, how you take care of your properties, how you manage finances. Do you really understand real estate industry, the ins and outs of the industry? Express that, because people, if somebody is investing with you, that means they want to know that you have that kind of expertise. You can manage this deal. So give them confidence. So there are two things which are critical here: trust and confidence. Trust in you and confidence in myself. Like, I should be, as an investor, I should be confident that yes, I know about multifamily industry, syndication industry, how the deal is structured, what are the roles and responsibilities of general partner and limited partner, this is the capital stack, all these things, the nitty gritty. You have to make them understand. Now, if you are dealing with a software professional, it's clear that he or she doesn't have interest in finance, of course, otherwise he or she should be in finance. So you have to make, at least, you have to give them some flavor of that, how financing works in software, in the deal. And as a software professional, if I'm investing, I should be confident enough as an investor that yes, I know about that, how this thing is going to work. And the more confident you make your investor, the more trust you are going to make. You're going to build more trust, in their so that's how you have to take care of this, that make the investor confident so that they can trust in you, and give them advice which is transparent, authentic, and honest.
So if I am creating the content here, in order to bring their interest, in order to touch upon the base where they are interested, should I be only creating content on real estate, or rather on those topics as well where they have interest into. For instance, if I want to target IT people and I'm into IT and I want to target these people, so if I'm creating real estate content, would that be okay on my LinkedIn profile, that if I put on content related with IT kind of things where these people can find something for them? Or would it be going against LinkedIn platform, because LinkedIn is all about professionalism and telling about your own business and deals, and as an indicator I should be just writing and posting the content related with my deals, or something else is also workable? Or can I put some kind of humor sometimes so that I can grab in more kind of people in my profile there?
Absolutely. I think, it should be a mix of different kind of content. Sometimes, let's say you are going on a vacation and you find something interesting enough to tell, so storytelling is important here. So you said, can I make it humorous? Why not? So if you have a story which is humorous, but you are giving some message, why not? Life is not just about business and finances and, these aspects only. So, uh, even if your investors are coming to know that this is your family life, or this is you as a person, not just as a professional but as a person also, and that's even more, they resonate with you as a person, and that creates a different kind of relationship. So it's very important that you create different kind of content, not just talking about real estate all the time, because people may not like it. Talk about, let's say, we are talking about IT professionals and software professionals a lot. So talk about that, how, AI, how technology is transforming real estate, so that you can somehow relating different domains, and you are interconnecting real estate with other domains. And of course, technology has a great play into real estate also. If you are talking to energy professionals, for example, talk about solar and talk about, these renewable energy channels and stuff like that. That way they are going to resonate with you even more closely.
So if I have certain kind of news that hit me, or energy, as you said, if this industry, I have some kind of news that I want to share, can I just share that on my LinkedIn page or profile?
Yes, sharing news is okay sometimes, but not all the time, because you have to add your perspective. So let's say something happened in the industry, so add your perspective also, that this is my take. For example, the interest rates went up or down. This is how it is going to impact you as an investor.
So what's my take on that? I should be elaborating on that from my side.
That's a very important point, because there are a lot of reports coming out. Let's say, there are research reports, industry reports from major, houses like CBRE or Knight Frank or PricewaterhouseCoopers or Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae. They keep on coming up with their research reports pretty much every month or every quarter, then, half yearly and annual reports. Now, as a healthcare professional, as a software professionals, they are not going to go through the reports, the PDFs, and they might not even be interested in downloading those reports. They want someone to decipher that for them, and that too, that what does it mean for me? So if you become that person, that yes, this guy is telling me that this is what is happening in the multifamily space every month, and I just need to give him 10 minutes maybe to go through his content, and I am aware that what is happening in the market. You become that guy. I tell you, one example. There is one company which is just doing one thing, and I'm telling you, it doesn't require you to do like 20 different things in marketing or branding. That's a mistake. If you are spread around, like, if you go like for 20 different things, you are stressed out, you don't know what is working, and you are always like, exhausted. Don't go like that. Just one thing. So the example I was giving is, they are just doing one thing. What is that? They are just analyzing the market every month. That's the monthly video they are doing, and they are analyzing it for the last 3 4 years. And now, initially, like, for the first 5 6 months, 7 months, people just notice. So what happens that people, sometimes indicators stop after 5 6 months, and maybe, you have to be little patient, because results keep coming. They come after some time. When you stop, maybe, after that. So it happens many times. So what you have to do, keep on doing this kind of stuff consistently, and now we notice that people come to them. So that's the power of consistency and patience. People come to them and they get consistent leads, that because, they have created that kind of brand in the market. They
I'm
have created.
visible through different kind of points in the market and on my LinkedIn as well.
Yes, so if you're creating a, let's say, a video on monthly market updates on multifamily or housing outlook, then people come back to you. You can send them through newsletter. You can put it in all your social media, as we said that, you can repurpose the content. So the point I'm making here is that don't do too many things. Just do maybe two, three things rightly and be consistent on that and be known for that. So let's say if you are focusing on video, do it every month or just set the frequency. And once you set the frequency, or a podcast for example, just go on for that for a very long time. Just think that there are so many other companies or brands and they have taken so many years to build that brand, but once that is done, you have actually come at a stage where you are, like you have a history, like so one thing is that you are far ahead of the competitors which are not creating content. you know let's say I'm the investor and I come across two deals from two different syndicators. One syndicator, I know that, I have come across his content like pretty much like 7 times. And there is one syndicator I have never seen. So despite the fact that maybe this guy has better deal, or maybe offering better numbers, or maybe, everything is good, but still I want to work with the other guy because I have seen his content, I know him, perhaps I
He's
like him.
consistent into providing the information about everything and
Yeah, and he is visible in the market. And that is why there are a lot of people. I give you example of, for example, Grant Cardone. He's a marketing engine, he's a sales engine. you know so he is visible in the market all the time. Maybe other guys may be having better deals, but he's so visible that whenever somebody talks about multifamily, people know about him. So that's the kind of personal brand he has created. Maybe investors might be chasing him, you know and that's the power of personal brand. I gave you one more example. There are so many companies. The other day I was watching Elon Musk, and interestingly, what he said in a conference, that somebody asked that how, what is your outlook about your company's returns and investors investing in your company, whether this is a good time to buy Tesla's stocks and all. So he said something very interesting. It's out on YouTube, you can search. He said that I never advise anyone to invest in my companies. I in fact tell them that, don't invest in this, maybe it is highly priced. He said that very openly. But do you believe that still millions and billions of dollars are chasing him, right? And do you think that Elon Musk built that brand in 3 months or 6 months or 1 year? He went bankrupt. He went bankrupt. Like he didn't have any money. His companies literally failed. And this is just one example. There are many such examples. If you go back in history, you will find that many such people who are world's largest industrialist or world's richest people, or so on and so forth, they have their own stories. But people believe that yes, this guy has tasted not just success but failure. And why do you hide your failures? So even if you are a real estate syndicator and you had a bad deal or you did something wrong, why to hide that? Because you have gained experience. Next time you are not going to do that. So if somebody is hiding that, that means you are not, your integrity part is missing. you know
but isn't that going to go against my marketing thing? Because if I'm going to create the repo with them, how do I tell them that I have made this mistake?
in the short term maybe, but if you are genuine enough and you know that how to handle this, and this is not intentional, like tell me something. The other day I have invested in several companies, and my strategy is always diversification. So I have invested in like maybe hundreds of companies. It's always staggered like that. Now what happens that there are deals which go wrong. you know so I invested in invoice discounting. So invoice discounting is one of these streams not related to multifamily real estate. Now I invested with 3 companies, and I might have invested in more than 15, 20 deals with different companies. Invoice discounting, one deal went bad. And the moment that deal was going wrong, they stopped communication first. I didn't get any returns for 3 months. They said that, something is, we are following up with the company and all that. After 6 months, they stopped responding. The so-called relationship manager stopped communicating with me. He said, I have left the job. And there was no communication at all. If you are writing emails, and the same was happening with other investors also. If they come back to me and tell me that, hey, this is what is happening. And that thing reached at a point that so many investors collected, and then there was so much of pressure from the government and regulators. And then they started communicating, and then they told that, this is what is happening. And I was thinking that if you would have told me right from the beginning that this is not our fault, the company is going through bad times, or this is a thing which can happen in any business. So investors do understand. If somebody is coming to you, somebody is trusting you, that means they also understand the nitty gritty and the dynamics of investing. Tell them, you know, in the short term, you might lose some market share or confidence or something like that. In the long term, it's going to be a big thing for you that you admitted that this was the thing, which went wrong, and then you can improvise on that. And you have already tasted that failure. So all the big success stories are built on failures. you know if you haven't tasted failure, that means you are not successful, or if you or maybe you're hiding a lot of things. And if you're hiding a lot of things, that means you're not transparent.
True. So if I want to create my marketing plan on LinkedIn as a syndicator, what should I do? What should be the initial steps in order to prepare for that marketing plan? And if we create that marketing plan, are there any kind of, specific number of steps that I need to have, or it's just like a never ending kind of thing?
It's a process, and continuous improvement. So the Japanese concept of kaizen, continuous improvement. But that means that don't wait for perfection, that someday will come that I will be good at speaking on camera, or maybe I will be writing this kind of content or newsletter or article. Don't wait for that. Whatever you think like that, yes, I want to tell my story, just switch on your mobile device. Don't wait for anything at all. Your phone is more than sufficient. You just record that and start conveying your message. Have you seen that there are many YouTube? You go back to YouTube and Instagram, and you will find that a lot of content which is like, just like not much edited and no effects, no nothing. But the message is very strong. It's genuine. So people appreciate ingenuity, authenticity, and not your graphics and effects and editing perfection and your this and that. Don't wait for that. Just start and then improvise. And then you can always go back and you can have the most expensive cameras in the world and most expensive devices in the world, and you can set up your studio and stuff like that later on. But don't wait for these things. Don't be impeded by these things.
So we have heard about paid and organic marketing on Facebook. Is it the thing on LinkedIn as well?
Yes, paid marketing on LinkedIn also is there. These options are always there because ultimately, social media platforms are also businesses. They have to survive. That means they have to have some advertising or some, channels like that to survive in the market. So yes, LinkedIn advertising is also there. You can, it's a different play, and you have to create different kind of strategies for that. For example, lead generation campaigns. But you have to provide value. Always keep in mind that you are providing some kind of value to your audiences, and it is not just about yourself or your deals or your this that blah blah. It's about the audience and how you are giving value to them. So if you are giving, let's say, some checklist or some template or some ebook. Ebooks are little, after AI, anybody can produce ebooks. So unless it has something very authentic or something which is coming out of your experience, which is unique and not just generated by chat gpt or Gemini or so, then it's going to matter. And these kind of resources you can provide to your potential audiences, and in exchange you can ask for email IDs. Like, they can fill up the form and provide you their email IDs. And again, once you get their email IDs and contact details, keep on giving value. So that should be your goal, that you are giving value to your audiences.
And is SEO working on LinkedIn, or is it still relevant when AI has just, touched every industry?
You made a great point. Your LinkedIn articles also appear on Google search results. That means if you are writing a good article or newsletter, sometimes you find, you search for some terms, and many times your LinkedIn articles of others, they appear in the search results and at the top. Like, I know many people, like, if you wrote some article on creative financing, and it appears, when somebody searches for a certain keyword, it appears at the top. So LinkedIn has its own brand authority, its own domain authority. So those content pieces can rank very high on Google. Now, coming back to your point, SEO. SEO is going through literally transformation these days after AI, because you might have seen that when you go to Google now, there is AI section also. That means Gemini can answer, your queries. So you don't have to go through the search results, Gemini answers those queries and in a very elaborated way, and they give you links also that this result is coming from this website and you can check back. So in that case, you have to think about that how these chat GPT kind of things or AI chat, generative AI is working and how they are generating results for their audience and produce content like that so that they start showing your content in their search results.
So I think AI is a very vast topic and we can elaborate a lot on this topic. So let's keep the conversation rolling for our next episode, Vikram. It was having great it was great having lots of insights, wonderful insights from you on various things on SEO, on AI. It's been a wonderful talk with you, Vikram. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.